The biggest deals: Barcelona's new attack, Atletico's revolution and Real Madrid's Rodri bombshell. The summer transfer window is getting hotter, and La Liga is quickly becoming one of the biggest centers of the European transfer market. Barcelona are adding explosive attacking talent. Atletico Madrid are rebuilding their squad with major signings in midfield and attack. Real Madrid have already made several important additions, but now a massive rumor involving one of Spain's biggest football stars could completely change the balance of power in the league. And then there is Julián Álvarez. Barcelona's pursuit of the Atletico Madrid striker remains one of the most fascinating stories of the entire summer. At the same time, Real Madrid are reportedly considering a move for Rodri, a player who already knows Spanish football extremely well and who could potentially become the missing piece in Madrid's midfield. So, in this first part, we are going through the biggest confirmed transfers and the most important developing stories around Barcelona, Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid. And remember, whenever we talk about a rumor, we will call it a rumor. Whenever something has been officially confirmed, we will make that clear. Let's get into it. Barcelona have officially signed Karim Adeyemi. Let's begin with one of the biggest confirmed Barcelona transfers of the summer. Karim Adeyemi is officially a Barcelona player. Barcelona reached an agreement with Borussia Dortmund for the immediate transfer of the German forward, and the deal was completed during July. Dortmund confirmed that Adeyemi had expressed his desire to leave, with the German club ultimately agreeing to his transfer to Barcelona. The reported structure of the deal is particularly interesting. Barcelona are paying approximately €22 million up front, with the total potentially rising by another €7 million in performance-related bonuses. Adeyemi has signed a contract that runs until 2031, meaning Barcelona are not treating this as a short-term gamble. They are investing in a player who is still entering what should be the prime years of his career. And there is another important connection behind this transfer. Adeyemi already knows Hansi Flick. That relationship could become extremely important. Flick previously worked with Adeyemi in the German national team environment, and Barcelona apparently believe that the player's characteristics fit the football they want to play. Adeyemi is not simply another attacking player arriving at Camp Nou. He gives Barcelona something that is extremely difficult to defend against raw speed. Barcelona already possess extraordinary technical quality. Lamine Yamal can create chances from almost nothing. Their midfield can control possession. Their forwards can combine in tight spaces. But speed changes the geometry of a football pitch. If Adeyemi starts on one side, Barcelona can threaten behind the defensive line. If defenders move backwards to protect against his pace, that can create more room between the lines. If they stay high, Adeyemi can attack the space behind them. That is exactly why this signing makes tactical sense. And the financial side is also worth watching. A €22 million guaranteed fee for a player of Adeyemi's profile is not the type of investment that automatically creates enormous pressure. If the player succeeds, Barcelona could potentially have secured a high-level attacking option at a relatively manageable price. But there is a major question. Where exactly does Adeyemi fit? Barcelona already have several players competing for attacking minutes. Lamine Yamal is obviously one of the most important pieces of the project. That means Adeyemi may have to fight for minutes, rotate across the front line, or even be used in different attacking roles. And this is where the signing becomes particularly interesting. Adeyemi does not necessarily need to replace one specific player. Instead, Barcelona can use him to create different tactical possibilities. Against a team sitting deep, his pace can still be useful if Barcelona manage to isolate him against a fullback. Against a high defensive line, his speed becomes even more dangerous. And in matches where Barcelona need more direct attacking football, Adeyemi can provide a completely different option from a possession-heavy approach. Barcelona have therefore made a clear statement. They are not only trying to control matches, they want to become more unpredictable, and Adeyemi could be an important part of that. Barcelona's bigger plan, Julián Álvarez, but Barcelona's transfer window does not stop with Adeyemi. The biggest story is still Julián Álvarez, and this is where things become much more complicated. Barcelona have been heavily linked with the Atletico Madrid striker, but Atletico have shown little willingness to make life easy for their Spanish rivals. Recent reporting has suggested that Barcelona were working toward a deadline of the 31st of July for Atletico to respond to their efforts regarding Álvarez. That deadline is extremely important because the summer window is moving rapidly. Barcelona cannot spend the entire summer waiting for one player. They have already strengthened the attack with Adeyemi, but Álvarez is a completely different type of target. Why? Because Álvarez is not simply a winger or a rotation forward. He can play as a central striker. He can drop deeper. He can combine with attacking midfielders. He can press. He can attack space. And he has the technical quality to participate in Barcelona's possession game. In other words, he could potentially fit into several different tactical structures. That is why Barcelona appear to value him so highly. But Atletico Madrid have every reason to resist. From Atletico's perspective, selling Álvarez to Barcelona would not simply mean losing one of their best players. It would mean strengthening a direct domestic rival. That is a completely different calculation. Atletico can ask themselves a very simple question: why should we help Barcelona become stronger? And there is an even bigger issue. Álvarez is not a normal transfer target. He is a player who has become central to Atletico's sporting project. If Barcelona eventually managed to sign him, it would be one of the biggest La Liga transfers of the summer. But if Atletico successfully keep him, the consequences could be just as significant. Imagine an Atletico attack containing Julián Álvarez alongside the new attacking and midfield additions. That could become a completely different team. So the Álvarez story is not only about Barcelona. It is also about Atletico's ambitions. What if Barcelona failed to sign Álvarez? This is where another name becomes important: Illy Jr. Krupi. Reports from the Spanish transfer market indicate that Barcelona have re-engaged with Bournemouth regarding the young French forward as a possible alternative if Atletico refuse to change their position on Álvarez. One report puts Krupi's valuation at around €100 million, although that figure should be treated as reported valuation rather than a completed transfer fee. And that tells us something about Barcelona's thinking. They are not simply waiting passively for Atletico. They appear to have a plan B that matters enormously during the final weeks of the window. Because the worst situation for a club is to spend the entire summer chasing one player, fail to sign him at the end, and then discover that every alternative has already disappeared. Barcelona seem to be trying to avoid exactly that situation. Adeyemi is already secured. Álvarez remains the dream or priority target in this particular storyline, and Krupi is reportedly being considered as another option. So Barcelona's attacking strategy is becoming increasingly clear: speed, versatility, youth and long-term value. But the question remains, can they actually get Álvarez away from Atletico? That could be one of the defining transfer battles of the summer. Atletico Madrid are building something very different. While Barcelona are trying to improve their attack, Atletico Madrid have been busy constructing a new-look squad of their own. And some of their summer moves are extremely interesting. The club have already brought in Alex Grimaldo. They have signed Morten Hjulmand. And now they have completed the signing of Lee Kong-in from Paris Saint-Germain. This is not a small change. It looks like a major attempt to refresh the squad around Diego Simeone. Morten Hjulmand, the midfield anchor. Atletico officially completed the signing of Danish midfielder Morten Hjulmand from Sporting CP earlier in July. The reported fee is around €40 million. And Hjulmand has signed a contract running until 2031. This transfer makes a lot of sense when you consider Atletico's need for midfield power. Hjulmand is the type of player who can provide defensive security while also helping the team progress the ball.